So speaking of Artie, here we go with Artie. The genesis of this fight is Artie is now, by the way, the bro fight happens a couple of weeks right after this. So Artie is on the verge. He's really had it with his persona, the way they treat him, the way they look at him, Howard exploiting him. I think Artie at this point knows how much money Howard makes and how responsible Artie is for a lot of the people coming over to Sirius. And he's losing. The bro fight's about to happen a month from here, but he loses it first on Jason. And this fight is over. They try to do a very similar thing with Tabitha Stevens and Artie, and he's not having it. He knows it's fake. He's not into it. And Tabitha Stevens is in there. She gets nude and she tries to give a lap dance to Artie, and he's not having it.
And that's what I mean about, like, Jason is Scott DePace's Tabitha Stevens. It's like Jason's doing this to egg you on. He probably doesn't believe half the shit he's saying. Neither does Ralph. And if you keep reacting like it, it's just going to feed that fire.
You see the picture I made here, this collage? Yeah. In the top right, that's French toast. So Howard is now getting ridiculous material out of obsessing over what Artie's eating. It was the worst conversation. I listened to this before. He goes to Artie, he's like, why don't you have, this is how anorexic, this is what an anorexic broad he is. This is what a fairy Nancy boy. He goes to Artie, who does this? He goes, why don't you eat the French toast without syrup? Who eats French toast without syrup?
That sounds like a John
Who would
Hines
even
suggestion.
consider that? Right. And Artie's like, what? I'm not going to eat French toast without. Who would even recommend? So he's doing like, have it without the da da da. He's like, no, I'm not going to eat French. So he's just eating what he likes. And Howard's obsessed with fixating on. So they filmed Artie eating French toast. And this is all getting to him. This fat guy, exploitation thing, and
No, here's what
they
happened.
said
Dominic goes, I'll pay $100 if you bring him a double order of risotto.
I didn't order anymore.
And he always does it.
I see.
He had to embarrass Artie.
Because the guy said they brought out
in front of his date.
the biggest bowl they'd ever seen.
Before you and all the little bitches back there yell at me for eating, Dominic brought it.
I wish.
Bitches. What are you talking about?
Why are you calling us bitches?
No, he meant me and Will and Jason.
Believe me, I wish Dominic would have ordered me a double portion of it.
I know.
Jason's on a wrap-up show saying he thought I was on drugs because I fell asleep after the show while talking to him. Let me tell Jason, you're not exactly like talking to a young Tony Robbins. All right? I don't know. Everybody else in your life, Jason, does cartwheels after a 5-hour radio show while talking to your exciting fat ass.
But they keep their eyes open.
I'm not one of them. All of a sudden, Jason's Mr. Cool. This nerdy virgin, this nerdy hairy virgin that we hired is Fonzie on the wrap-up show thinking I'm on drugs. Right. All your drug-related past friends from wherever you grew up in Southern California, you hairy
Are you mad at that?
Wow. I mean, that's something, Bond. That's like sound drops you get from that. That's like a crazy rant that a lot of people don't talk about. This was not on Howard TV, by the way. I looked for, they would not, somehow they decided this isn't film worthy, or maybe they're worried about a lawsuit or whatever, but this is not filmed. I don't know why.
Are you mad at that wrap-up show stuff?
I'm mad at what Jason said. I think Artie's on drugs. He was falling asleep while he was talking to me. No one falls asleep when I'm talking. You nerdy virgin hairy fag.
Call him a...
Wow. Jose, I found this out. Artie's routine was during these years, he would go home, sleep, wake up at 9 p.m., and then stay up all night and do the show.
So this would be the last thing you did all day, right?
Yeah, that's right. He went home immediately, went to sleep, and then woke up 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and then stayed up all night because he didn't want to get up.
I didn't say you're falling asleep. I said that you looked out of it, and you did, and I'm not the only one who said it. Gary said it, and a bunch of other people said it. So if you want to come down on me, I'm
coming down on you.
Go ahead.
Because you said, well, I think I just did.
Yeah, I mean, all I said was, dude, you looked out of it. You didn't look the same as before when you left the studio mysteriously for a half hour, and I was worried about you. And
you weren't worried about me. You want to be you want to be interesting on the wrap-up show.
Yeah, I'm always running down to the wrap-up show to be interesting.
And Artie does see the picture, and when he's pushed and needled, he will let that out. Like the bro fight was a large percentage, of this argument and narrative. And it's once it gets into his head, that Artie's thinking on those terms, right? He can throw it in your face anytime. He's a loose cannon with that. He's gonna say, okay, anytime you push me, I'm gonna reveal the fourth wall.
Right, and I think he saw that fourth wall the day he joined that show.
That's all I hear is every one of you motherfuckers around like little wolves over there.
All right, so you know what? F you then. I don't care. Come in any state you want. I don't give a shit. I saw you look. I mean, I saw you. I was worried. Sorry.
I agree with Sky Spectre. It makes you miss Artie when you hear this. Like, it just takes you back to like, oh wow, this is of course this is what's missing. PC23 goes, Meth is a great drug if you want to walk to St. Louis any given weekend.
Dude, whatever. So, fuck it. Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Take your nerdy virgin ass back to the computer and type like a broad.
Okay. Shove another fucking cupcake down your mouth, you fat fuck.
Whoa!
All right. And why don't you come down on Gary? Said the same freaking thing. What? It's not him?
I didn't hear that part. I didn't hear the whole thing.
Okay. All right, call him a rude little pig again. That's the Alec Baldwin line.
You're a rude little pig.
Jason's saying, like, why are you picking on me? They all said the same thing I said. I'm just like the lowest hanging fruit on the totem pole that you come after. Go after them. Go after, like, he's kind of right about that in a way. Like,
listen, I'm going to defend Artie for one thing here. I walk out of here after a 5-hour show. I'm unconscious. You would think I was on heroin when I leave here. I'm
but when Jason talks to you, you perk right up, though, right?
No, as a matter of fact,
Have
I've made a rule.
you ever fallen asleep on Jason?
Absolutely.
Howard goes, he's playing the victim. Like, you're supposed to feel sorry for him. I walk out of here. I want to go. I'm in a coma. You have how about the radio host like Ben Mahler, who we just watched, that has one producer, no sidekicks, nobody making bits for him. Could you imagine if he didn't have those people working? If he had to like just sit there and talk and take calls? He's the easiest, honestly. There's so many radios, like a Christopher Russo. He does his show. He just takes sports phone calls the whole time. Could you imagine if Howard had to do that without these 70 people?
As soon as the show is over, I go meditate. I got to go pass out for a few minutes because I'm so.
But it wasn't, dude. It wasn't that. Everyone heard it in the office when he came back. Look, I'm sure he's fine, but I'm not the only one saying it. It had nothing to do. I didn't have totally to do with the conversation I had with Artie off the air.
Tell it to me in person if you're so worried. Don't tell it on the radio.
I did. I said I was a pussy for not saying something to you in person.
He did say
so you're making my point. An idiot.
Dominic, thank you.
Whatever.
Listen, we're going to let me listen to the.
Go win an argument with Scott DePace. You're outnumbered here.
Jace, how you feeling?
I'm feeling okay.
Are you and Artie on speaking terms?
Yeah, I mean, Artie apologized for having an outburst on the air, and I apologize for. I understand where he's coming from in the sense that, listen, I'm the last person in the world who wants my mother calling me crying and saying she heard I was on drugs. So I didn't think of how it would impact his life off the air by saying what I said and not saying it to his face off the air. But he was clearly mad at me, and I think he clearly is still mad at me. And I get it on one point, and on another point, I don't know. I really think Artie doesn't like me. Like,
you can tell Artie scared Jason a little bit. Like he's
he's trembling.
Right.
Yep. That's the one guy, right, who just is not you can't possibly. Artie knows how much leverage he has besides the whole money thing, whatever. But he's definitely afraid of him. Look at Marcy Turk here and then start wrapping it up. Dr. Sarah.
I also think that everybody on staff knows how much wittier Artie is than them. And even though all of them would probably say like, well, I'm not a comedian, they all think they're comedians.
And they're all attention whores too.
Where other people aren't.
What do you mean?
There's just been other things that have happened where Artie seems to get really mad at me and yell at me, and then not other people. Like I'm saying, there was something I wrote like a million when the website first started, and I was just doing a weekly comment about observations about what was going on in the show, and one of the things I wrote was that Scott DePace and Artie like to bounce this rubber ball down the hall during the commercial breaks. I wrote a line that in retrospect did come off kind of snooty, I guess, but I wrote a line, they seem to amuse themselves bouncing the ball up and down the hall. Artie got so mad at me. I mean, he was furious. He wouldn't talk to me for like weeks. He was rude. He was mean. He was very angry and not nice to me for, I would say, a good part of a year, if not longer.
Really?
And I still think I think that was early on when I got to meet him. And somewhere now he's got a set that I'm just this snooty, snobby, nerdy, look down on him kind of person, which is totally not true. I mean,
do you think it's a little bit of who the fuck are you to talk about me? Like, what have you ever done?
No.
Or do you think it is?
This is extended from the wrap-up show, too. This is great. This is, again, this is not written out, and Mark's friggin' I have to kind of ferret this on my own with nothing to go on.
I really get the impression that he thinks that I kind of look my nose down at him. That's the impression I get, which is totally not true. I think Artie's obviously one of the funniest people on the show. I think he's incredibly smart and talented, obviously.
I agree.
I mean, he's lived a completely different lifestyle than I've led, but I don't look down on him for that. But I swear to you, ever since that comment, it's like, it was so weird, and then, but that was years ago, and I felt things got better, but I guess it just opened up the dam, or maybe I'm perceiving things completely wrong.